to CGQ History.
I'm Chris.
I'm Gina.
I'm Quinn.
Today's topic is the Spanish conquest of the Aztec.
The Aztec Empire was an extremely accomplished empire that dominated neighboring tribes. While Europeans were dying of plague, the Aztec Empire was building its advanced gold city, Tenochtitlan. Decline factors included disease from the Spanish steel weapons, horses which were not native to the Americas, and gave the Spanish the upper hand during battle due to the fear of such a large animal. And the Spanish had guns versus the Aztecs' sharp tools. The main reason the Spanish decided to come over was to conquest natives, convert them to Christianity, and find gold. The Aztec Empire was so rich that gold was practically everywhere.
In the years leading up to the Aztec conquest, they experienced omens as the Aztec were superstitious. Some of these omens were a comet shooting across the sky, which made Montezuma II cry all night.
The temple of the god of war caught fire. Lake Texcoco boiled over and flooded all the houses and major parts of the city. Montezuma II saw a bird with a mirror implanted into the crown of its head, and in the mirror he saw the Aztecs at war with foreign people.
After sailing for 15 years, Hernan Cortez landed in Aztec territory. Cortez and his men were sailing around the world in hopes of finding people to convert to Catholicism and finding land for Spain. Also for finding gold. The Aztecs described Cortez's ships as floating mountains. In 1503, the encomienda system was established by the Spanish government to peacefully convert people to Catholicism and teach natives Spanish. The Spanish were responsible for an Aztec. At least that was the idea. What it really looked like was slavery. In return for this blessing, the natives had to do whatever the Spanish needed. Many of the Spanish treated the natives poorly. In the beginning, according to the Spanish crown, this was not only very legal but very good to do, and the idea was to enforce Spain's emphasis on Catholicism. It was really just for the Spanish to assert their dominance over the native people. Later attempts were made by the Spanish crown to stop the abuse of power with the laws of Burgos from 1512 to 1513. Also with the new law of the Indies in 1542, both failed with extreme Spanish explorer opposition. Cortez sailed around the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula to the Pontochan tribe. There the native people offered gold and food. When Cortez first landed in the Aztec Empire, he made his expedition to the shimmering gold capital of Tenochtitlan. On the way, he slaughtered native villagers who did not conform to his rules. The villagers claimed they had no gold and threatened to kill Cortez if he didn't leave. The result of this encounter was 400 native warriors driven away with heavy losses. The villagers gave the Spanish a group of 20 women to cook and fulfill them sexually. This is a social justice issue. Basically, these women were slaves for the Spanish conquistadors. They had no opinion or say in anything. They were forced to cook for the Spanish. These women were not treated with dignity and equality. Treating somebody like they're not as good as you due to their gender or background is discriminatory and very wrong. This later proved very powerful against the Aztecs, leading to their downfall. One of these 20 women was named Malinche. Malinche could both speak Mayan and Nahuatl. Due to Cortez's men being able to speak Mayan, Malinche played a key role in Spanish conquest by translating what the Aztecs would say that Cortez was not supposed to hear. She also gave birth to one of the first mestizo children, or children of mixed blood between the New and Old World. This child's father was Cortez.
We know the invasion actually occurred because of the map of Tenochtitlan created by the Europeans. The conquistadors created this map so they could understand how the city was set up. They had help from some Aztecs that could better describe how the city was laid out. They used this map to decide the various invasion routes they used to capture Montezuma II. Also, they used these maps to navigate and decide what routes to close off and escape from to capture the Aztecs. Letters to Cortez confirmed that the Aztecs were conquered. He explains that the Aztec were acting very suspicious and that due to these peculiar behaviors decided to attack the Aztec. These letters describe his account of the attack and discord during the conquest of the Aztec Empire. A long-lasting implication of the Spanish conquering the Aztec was a change in the language spoken amongst Aztecs. Today, Spanish is the main language spoken in Central America. Because of the change in language, Aztec territory became known as New Spain. One of the many long-lasting implications of the Spanish conquest of the Aztecs was the start of what is referred to as the mestizo population. The term mestizo was created after Malinche, an Aztec woman, had a child with Cortez. This was the first Spanish and Aztec mixed-blood child in the New World.
Another long-term effect of the Spanish conquest was the conversion from the Aztec polytheistic religion to Catholicism. The Spanish were very dedicated and loyal to their religion, which is why they worked so diligently to make sure Catholicism was well spread in the New World. However, in the process of the conversion, the Spanish failed to realize they were taking away the Aztecs' culture and forcing them into something they didn't believe in. Although most of the Aztec were against worshiping Catholicism, they didn't have much of a choice because they knew the consequences they would have to face, one of the most extreme being death. A major implication of the invasion was the extreme decline in the Native American population. The Spanish were extremely violent when conquering and didn't seem to mind killing anyone that was against their ideas. Since the Aztec had their own culture, religion, and ways of life, they didn't accept all of Spanish's new ideas. This led to major battles, which in turn led to a large number of casualties. Unfortunately, for the Aztec, there were way more casualties for them than the Spanish. The Aztec were never able to rebuild the population after the epidemic and warring.